Week's episode of Fitness, Fun and Fuckery.
See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands in when they call me old-fashioned. I'm kind of a big ill.
Boom. And we're back, and I hope you liked my little brand new little intro video. Hopefully that picked up okay and it made sense. So we're back with another episode of Fitness, Fun and Fuckery on a Friday. We should have been Wednesday, but I was at the dentist, so I had to move it. But just to let you know, going forward, it's going to be every Wednesday at 5 p.m. BST, which is British Summer Time. I think that's about midday Eastern Standard Time and about 9 a.m. on the West Coast. So hopefully you can make those times in future. But just to let you know, it will be every Wednesday from now on going forward. But if you're coming onto this now, if you're on live, let me know where you're from. If anyone's coming in, drop a little comment into the chat. Oh, Haley's on. Evening. I know where you're from. But if anyone else in the world, let me know where you're from. Let me know what's going on, what time of the world it is, where you are in the world. And hopefully we'll get you some answers of what we're going to talk about. Today's topic, I actually put a poll earlier on my Facebook. I keep saying Facebook, on my LinkedIn. A poll, very popular on LinkedIn at the moment. And I put the poll up, and I'm going to drag this up on my phone so I can just check exactly what the poll said. So the poll said, what would you like me to help with? What areas of confusion around health, fitness, and fat loss? We've got a LinkedIn user, hi from Virginia, awesome. And I think just short of 200 people commented on the poll. A whopping 46% said how to lose body fat quickly. No surprise there. Got Mike coming in from Manchester. Hi, Mike. 19% said how to gain muscle and strength. Very important. 22%, so that came in second, motivation and goal setting. And fourth was 13% was self-image and limiting beliefs. So if you look at those four options, you've got two that are skill set, how to lose body fat, how to gain muscle. And the other two are mindset, motivation, goal setting, self-image, and self-limiting beliefs. All very, very important in losing body fat and getting in shape and improving your health. So what should I talk about today? Now, I'm going to do two of these, one from the skill set and one from the mindset. Now, forgive me for being Captain Obvious, but most people want to lose body fat more than they want to lose muscle. That's not to say that you gain muscle. It's not to say you don't want to gain muscle, but generally, most of you guys tend to want to lose body fat as opposed to putting loads of lean muscle on. So we're going to cover how to lose body fat quickly and efficiently. And I'm going to look at goal setting and motivation from the skill set. So look quickly, see who's in the comments. Cool. We've got Mike. We've got a couple of people tuning in. Awesome. If you've got any questions, drop them in there and I'll make sure they come onto the screen and I'll answer them. So first of all, let's look at how we lose body fat. And I put quickly because it's everyone wants results quick. Well, no one says, show me how to lose body fat slowly. Now, the reality is it's a bit cheeky on my part because the quickest way to lose body fat is just to not eat any food. That's the quickest way to lose body fat. Quickest way to lose all your muscle, probably die at the end of it. So it's probably not the means to an end that most people are looking for. But the reality is if you don't eat any food, if you eat less food than you're burning, you're going to lose weight and you're going to lose weight quick. So the quickest way to lose weight is just to not eat anything for a month. So assuming that's not what you want, probably the next best option would be to amputate your leg at the hip. That would be the quickest way to lose, 20 or 30 pounds. Again, I'm assuming that's probably not the choice that you guys are looking for. So let's take off the word quickly. Let's look at how we lose body fat. Now, this is very, very simple, but it's confusing for a lot of people. Now, if you've seen any of my posts on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or any of my social media, you'll know that I talk about calorie deficit all the time. Every diet that you can think of, whether that's, I'm going to name a few, keto, South Beach, Atkins, vegan, low carb, high protein, low protein, and there's hundreds out there. They only work by one mechanism. Every single one of them will work by the same mechanism. Now, a lot of them have got different choices of foods, different protocols, different schedules, but that's just a lot of bullshit to confuse you, really. They all work by one mechanism only, and that's by being in a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit is where you're consuming more calories than you're burning. Simple as that. That's a surplus. A calorie deficit is where you burn more calories than you're consuming. So let's say that's your calories coming in, calories out. Calories coming in, calories out. You're going to get fat that way. Now we need to flip that upside down. We want to be burning more calories than you're taking in, and that's the simple mechanism, calorie deficit, to how people burn body fat. Now, how you get to that deficit, you can do a million ways. There's a million ways to skin a cat. It doesn't make any difference. So all of those diets are just another way to get you into calorie deficit. And that's where it is very confusing. So when someone says, "Oh, I found this amazing diet, you just eat this and this, and you lose loads of weight." Yeah, you may do, but you're only losing weight because you're in a calorie deficit. So I hope that makes sense to people. And the way that we gain body fat, or the way we gain muscle to a certain extent, is by being in a calorie surplus. Having said that, you can actually gain muscle being in a deficit, but that's an entirely different conversation for another time. So we're looking at calorie deficit. So how do we go about that? Well, we need to have a rough idea of the calories. You need to track your calories, simple as that. Now, a lot of people say, "I don't want to track my calories." That's fine. You don't have to track your calories to lose body fat. It's just a very, very handy, efficient tool. Why make it more difficult than it needs to be? We track everything else in our life. I want you to look at calories coming into your body is like money coming into your bank account. If I said to you guys, anyone that's watching or listening to this, I want you to save 10 grand as quick as you can. Okay. But the problem is, I'm not going to tell you when you're going to get paid or the amount of money you've got coming in. And I'm not going to tell you your outgoings or when they're going to be, or how much your mortgage is, or how much the school fees or health payments or any of the normal costs that we have in normal life. You've got no idea what's coming in, no idea what's coming out. How could you save 10 grand? Unless you're making so much money, it didn't make any difference. You could just put 10 grand aside in one go. But generally, if you were trying to put money aside each month, if you had no idea what was coming in, what was going out, you're going to be in trouble. And that's what most people act like when it comes to their diet and nutrition. They've got no idea of the nutritional value of any of the food. They just massively overeat. They've got no idea of the calories they're burning. And they basically like throwing something against the wall and expecting it to stick. They go on a diet. And what do most people do when they go on a diet? Generally, anyone in the chat want to answer this? I'll wait 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. No. Okay. Most people cut carbs. Hands up if you've ever cut carbs if you've been on a diet. Okay. That's what most people do straight away. They say, "You know what? I'm cutting all my carbs out." And they lose weight. But they lost weight because they were in a calorie deficit, not because they reduced carbohydrates. Got nothing to do with it. You could have reduced dietary fat. You could have reduced protein. Doesn't make any difference when it comes to those calories. As long as you're burning more than you're consuming, you're going to lose body fat. That's a fact. If you take your calories too low too soon, you're going to lose body fat. You're probably going to lose a little bit of muscle, and it's not sustainable. And that's the problem with most diets. So it's finding what I call the sweet spot. Okay. The sweet spot is where you're in a calorie deficit, yet you're not ravenously hungry or so hungry that you can't focus, or you can't sustain it. Or if someone offers you a slice of pizza on a Friday, you're like, "Oh, give me the food." You blow the diet. So how many people have just, been really good with their diet 3 or 4 days a week, and the weekends come and it goes tits up? And that's because the calories are too low too soon. So we need to get you into what I call the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is where you're just burning a little bit more than you're taking in. And that is the level that's sustainable. And I always say the best diet, or the question I get asked, what's the best diet to be on? What's the best diet that I need to be on to lose body fat? And it's not a specific diet. It's been in a calorie deficit for as long as possible, or the one that you can sustain the longest. What's the diet that you can stay on the longest? If you can't see yourself doing a diet for more than a couple of weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, however long you need to do it to get to your goal, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. That said, if you've got a holiday coming up and you wanted to shift like 5-10 pounds, you could go on a fairly strict calorie deficit for 3 or 4 weeks, and you could do that. I'm not saying that's not tenable. You can do that for sure. But if you're looking at long-term sustained weight loss, we want to do it to a point where you can sustain it. And that's all that we want to do. And it really is that simple. Now, it's simple mechanically. Psychologically, it's tricky for most people. Otherwise, everyone would be in shape. Everyone would be in shape because mechanically, it's actually very, very simple. You burn more calories than you take in. You move your body 3 or 4 times a week. That's fat loss. Okay, it really is that simple. Psychologically, what goes on here, that's the tricky part. Okay, so what do we need to look at psychologically? Well, one, that's sustainability. Are you eating foods that you enjoy? Because if you're not eating foods that you don't enjoy, you can't sustain it. It's as simple as that. If you're chicken and broccoli, look, there's nothing wrong with chicken and broccoli. Good source of protein, good veg, bit of fiber. It's a bit old school bodybuilding, but if you went on chicken and broccoli for 12 weeks, you're going to lose a ton of body fat. But who wants to eat chicken and broccoli all day long? You know, it's a bit of a cliche when it comes to bodybuilding as well. So you need to have foods that you enjoy. And that's where we get the question, well, you know, do I need to cut my carbohydrates? Absolutely not when it comes to fat loss. You don't. Probably for most people, they're probably going to have to reduce the carbohydrates. If I look at most clients' food diaries when I start to work with them, 9 out of 10 we're probably going to say, we're not eliminating carbohydrates, but we're going to say, let's reduce them. Certainly the simple sugars. Again, another off topic, sugar isn't what makes you fat. And it's not addictive, but that's another question for another time. But we want to maybe reduce the carbohydrates, but that's just a way of getting you into calorie deficit. Probably want to reduce a bit of dietary fat for some people, and probably going to increase protein. Okay. Now, when I'm working with a client, there's 2 things that I'm really concerned with. 1, total calories. 2, how many grams of protein they're getting. And you could even argue for most people that the protein is not that important when it comes to fat loss. When you're building muscle, for guys and girls, yeah, protein is absolutely important. It's going to help you maybe be fuller, satiety, going to make you feel switched on, give you energy. Absolutely, it's protein. It's important. But what's more important is the actual calories that you consume in total. So you could even have a bad day of very, very low protein, but you're still going to lose body fat if you control your calories over a period of time. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So you don't need to reduce your carbohydrates or eliminate carbohydrates. We need to control the calories. And I'm looking at calories, total calories, and grams of protein. That brings me to the next question. A lot of people say, well, how many grams of protein should I be having a day? And it really depends. It really depends what the goal is. Now, I like to get most of my clients to aim for about 1.5 grams to 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight. Let's say someone was 80 kilos, I want to get to 60 kilos. So their intended body weight, 60 kilos. So at the top end of that, 2 grams of protein per kilo would be 120 grams of protein a day. So 1.5 is probably between 80 and 120 grams of protein a day. That's doable for most people. Okay, obviously it depends on the size of the person. If they're trying to put muscle on, they maybe want to be at a higher end of that. But that's where we want to be with protein. So all I'm interested, when I get my clients to check in, how many calories you want, how many grams of protein you're hitting. And I've had clients lose 25, 30 pounds in 12 weeks, and they're probably only getting 50 to 60 grams of protein a day. Now, I'm always trying to say, maybe you want to increase that a little bit. You know, it will help with satiety and things we talked about before. But if someone's got a lot of body fat to lose, total calories will always trump everything else. Okay, let's have a quick look at some of the questions in the chat. Soul Phoenix, hello Soul, how you doing? Suggested MyFitnessPal and everything made sense. Awesome, yeah, MyFitnessPal, I use that with all my clients. It's one of the best calorie trackers. It's just simple calorie tracking. It's free, although there's an upgraded version that I use with most of my clients. It just gives clients an idea. Now, a lot of people say, well, I want to eat intuitively. Well, that's great, Bob, but intuitive eating got you to 280 pounds. Look, if you look at most of the fitness professionals that don't track their calories now, they probably track their calories for a certain period of time, and they've got very, very comfortable with eyeballing what's on their plate: protein, carbs, vegetables, whatever. Most people that are struggling with the weight, they don't understand that. They've got no idea of the calorie content of their food. So getting them to eat intuitively is just going to cause massive problems. They're going to overeat. Look, given a chance, I'll overeat every time. If I have to start tracking, if I want to get in shape, when I say in shape, I'm not overweight, but if I wanted to get super lean for maybe a holiday or a trip abroad, I would get straight back on MyFitnessPal because I know exactly what's coming in. I've got no idea what's going out, actually. Energy trackers are wildly inaccurate. The great thing is they're always wildly inaccurate. So you can kind of guess, but really don't know what's going out. Unless you've got someone in a lab, you would have no idea how many calories they're burning. You don't really need to know that. Okay. So hopefully that's made a bit of sense. That's very quickly on, how a calorie deficit works. So whatever diet you're on, and you want to be very careful. If it's got a fancy name, if Hollywood are doing the diet, if some celebrity is endorsing this way of eating, steer clear of it. You've already got a diet. You're just eating too much of it. That's why people get fat. Yeah, we could play around with a few of the macros, maybe, if you want to get really fancy. But for most people, it's controlling calories, burning more calories than you're taking in. Okay, that is simply how you lose body fat. Now, the question I also get a lot is, Gav, if it's that simple, why are you telling everyone this all the time? And why are you going to get clients? Clients aren't going to come and work with you if you're giving away all your secrets. It's no secret. Everyone knows this in the fitness industry. And I'll tell this to anyone. The psychological aspect of actually doing that, of actually physically tracking and sticking to your diet and controlling the mindset around food and having a great relationship with food, that's what's tricky. The psychological aspect of losing body fat. The mechanical side is simple. Burn more calories than you're taking in. Move your body 3 or 4 times a week. For most people, is going to get a result. But why do many people not get the result they want and really struggle? It's because the psychological aspect of nutrition and how they see themselves and their own self-beliefs and self-worth and image. That's very tricky. Okay. Hopefully that's made sense. Well, let's look at the psychological side of things. Why people struggle with their weight loss. If you look at food, it's not a drug, it's something we need, but people are addicted to food per se. I don't mean they're actually physically addicted, like snorting it or injecting it, but they can't control their appetite. Their hormones are out of whack. They've got something in screaming, I need to eat more food. They're kind of addicted in that way, but they're not actually physically addicted to sugar or carbs. That's another conversation for another time. It all comes down to the fact that people use food as a crutch. Look, what do we do when we're happy? Let's go and eat. What do we do when we're sad? Let's go and eat. Get sacked, fuck it, I'm going to go and eat. I'm going to go and drink. So all the emotions that we run through, good and bad, happy, sad, angry, people use food as a crutch, and it's one of the only things that we use as a crutch that we have to have. If you think about it, we have to have food. You can't have food. If you don't have food, don't have energy, you're going to die. Simple as that. You don't have to have cigarettes. Certainly don't have to have cocaine, heroin. You might like it, but you don't have to have it. All the other vices that we've got in our lives, we don't have to have. We have to have food. So it's very tricky to almost give like a drug-like substance. And don't confuse that. I'm not saying food is like a drug, although it is to some people. This substance that they have to stay alive, but we've got to control the amount. It's like giving a cocaine user or abuser just 1 gram a day, not 5. You can see how difficult that is. So we need to have a really good relationship around food. And most of my clients that have got a lot of weight to lose haven't got that great a relationship around food. 1, they don't understand how it works calorie-wise, but 2, their own beliefs of being able to lose weight, they're shot to pieces because they've tried many things before. When I say tried, they've done a couple of things that didn't work, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. See, I told you it doesn't work. I can never lose weight because I've tried this and it doesn't work. Everyone thinks they're different. Okay, so there's all these psychological aspects of self-esteem, self-image, self-worth, and people use food to cover that up. And it's very, very tricky. So the actual mechanics, unless you've been living on Mars, we know that you need to just burn a little bit more than you take in, move your body. And anyone that's got a lot of weight to lose knows that as well. They know that. But there's all these other the psychological aspect of fat loss that comes into play, which is really, really tricky for people. And that's what I do on my coaching. That's what I spend the vast majority of my coaching calls, the group coaching, the modules that I provide for my clients, is talking about that relationship with food, talking about their own self-worth, and their belief that they can do it, their belief that they can lose weight. Because when people have got a lot of weight to lose, even 10 or 15 pounds, they just don't think they can do it. They've tried a few things before. It doesn't work for me. So you don't know that they can do it, but everyone can lose weight. If you can eat food, you can lose weight. Simple as that. Simple as that. All right, who's in the chat? Okay, hi, David. Is it Agnes? Agnes, I think. Hi. So if your Fitbit, I'm going to bring that question up. All right. So if my Fitbit tells me I've burned 3,000 calories today, I shouldn't believe it. It's not accurate. Yeah, it's not accurate. I've got Fitbit on. I only use it for the silent alarm, which I love. Here's the thing. The only accurate way to measure how many calories you're burning, you need to be in the lab, hooked up to all these machines. They want to work exactly how much muscle you've got, how much body fat, how your metabolism working. There's a test that I can't quite remember the name for it, and they can tell exactly how many calories you're burning per minute, per hour, the rate at which you burn body fat, when you start to burn body fat, and when you switch over from body fat into carbohydrates. There's a lot of things that we can do, but you need to be in the lab. So I would take what your Fitbit says with a pinch of salt. Is grossly overestimating the calories that you're burning, for sure. Okay, let's have a look who else we've got in the chat. Let's have a look. Mic's off. We've got Ahmed from the Maldives. Ah, awesome. Got the Maldives tuning in. Brilliant. I know David's in the States. Haley, Soul, new messages. Who else have we got? What about BMI scales? Well, BMI, body mass index. It depends how you look at it. Body mass is just height and weight, so it's a rough idea, and it's a rough measurement that the government and the doctors use. But I wouldn't, I don't really know what the context you mean with that question. But BMI scales, it will certainly tell you your BMI, but that doesn't really tell us a lot when it comes to losing body fat. If you're very muscular, it will say that you're obese. I'm 5'8". I'm about 12.5 stone at the moment. The heaviest I've been is about 13 stone. So if you were to go by BMI, when I was about 13 stone, it would say that I was actually quite a bit overweight for my height. I'm 5'8". But I was reasonably lean at the time, a bit more muscular than I am now. Definitely wasn't overweight, but BMI is just a rough guide. We've got Travis. Yo, he's lurking and working. Hi, Travis. Great. Got the setup going. I've got myself a little intro video as well, but I'm still going to come and have a chat with you at some point to up the game a little bit, I think. The only problem with running this on your own is you're trying to look at the chat and you're trying to talk about what you're trying to talk. And I've kind of lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to have to go with this. So we've got Anchor coming on. Hello, mate. How you doing? Here we go. Ahmed said, oh, here's a good question. Cool. Let's pull this up. What about intermittent fasting? Does that help lose weight? And what's the best sport? Some people say swimming is the best. What's your opinion? Okay. It doesn't help you lose weight any faster than any other way. Intermittent fasting is just a way of restricting calories. It's just a nice way for some people to get into a calorie deficit. The typical version that most people have come across is 16-8. That's where you fast for 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. But you can still gain body fat in fasting, because if you consume more calories in your 8 hours than you're burning, you're going to get fat. Now, what most people do is by skipping breakfast and eating lunch, then a snack and dinner, kind of what most people do with the 16-8, is that they reduce calories, but you will only lose body fat if you reduce calories. You burn more than you're taking in. I've known personally, I've done intermittent fasting and I gained weight because I was still consuming more calories. And some people get so hungry come lunchtime that they can't control what they eat and they massively overeat. So for them, it might be better to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, typically what most people do. So hopefully that has answered Ahmed. The best sport, there's no best sport. If you like to swim, and swimming is just cardio, although you could argue that if you were sprint swimming, you're going to build a bit of muscle, which you probably would. But for most people, swimming is cardio. If you like swimming, go and swim. It's no more effective at burning body fat than cycling or running or jogging or dancing or any other sport that you can think of. Playing football, playing rugby, whatever, makes no difference. There's no definitive sport that burns more fat. I guess there's certain activities, but per hour might burn more calories. But again, calorie burn has got irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with fat loss. It's how much food you take in, because you could burn 1,000 calories doing a really high intensity session of something. But if you eat another 3,000 and you're in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. It doesn't matter how many calories you burn in that session. So a sport that's burning a lot of calories per hour could help you lose body fat, but you still have to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, we've got Kevin. Hi from California. Awesome. California. It's my favorite place in the US. I've only been East Coast and West Coast, but do love a bit of Cali. I would move there in a flash. Kev. I'm assuming you call yourself Kev. Might be Kevin as well. Paul, had a haircut this week. I'm going to put this question up. This is a very important question. Paul has said, I've had a haircut this week and as a result lost 5 pounds. Can I count this as official weight loss? Paul, every pound counts, just like every inch counts. Okay. But let me ask you a question. Did you just shave your head or did you do the full back sack and crack? Did you do everything? Because 5 pounds is a lot of body hair. Let me know. Any other questions? High intensity, HIIT is high intensity interval training. Yeah, awesome. Great. I love it myself. Sprints or any type of sprint that you could do on a watt bike or Tabata or skipping, any stuff that's going to be high intensity. Be very careful if you've got injuries. I personally can't do high intensity stuff. I'm not old, I'm 47, but I'm getting older and I've got loads of injuries. I'm picking up niggles all the time. So for me to go and do high intensity with impact is probably not the best option. But maybe I could do some skipping or some cycling high intensity for sure. Just be careful with what you're doing. But high intensity, again, I prefer what they call this, which is low intensity, steady state cardio, because I'm old and I'm injured. So the devil's in the dose, like everything. Oh, my Fitbit went off. It's told me I've just burnt 10,000 calories in the last hour. So I'm probably going to ignore that. Okay. Any questions? Okay, we've got more questions in the box. Does weight loss help with getting better sleep? Good question. Or do you burn more fat by getting better sleep? Yes, no, maybe. Let me give you some context. We know that sleep is probably the most important thing that we need for health, no doubt. People talk about the 3 pillars of health when they mention sleep, exercise, and nutrition. I think it's really 2 pillars, exercise and nutrition, and sleep is the base. Because you can be following a great diet, you can be in a calorie deficit, you can be training. It's all going to not mean a lot if you haven't got the energy from poor sleep. So will actually having bad sleep cause you to not lose body fat? No, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're still going to lose body fat. The problem is it massively fucks up your hormones. Poor sleep over a period of time will skew with leptin and ghrelin, which are our hunger hormones. You've got one hormone saying eat more food. You've got another hormone saying I'm not satisfied. So people generally tend to overeat after poor sleep. That said, in sleep, when we sleep, we burn body fat. So you could say there's a marginal amount of body fat being burned whilst you're sleeping. And if you have better sleep, you're going to burn a little bit more body fat. That's true. But I think the most thing is in terms of energy. If you've had 4 or 5 hours of bad sleep, how motivated are you going to go to the gym the next day? Are you going to go for that run? Are you going to go for the swim? Are you going to go for the jog? Maybe, but maybe not. So your energy is going to be down that day. And it's been shown for different studies that you will tend to move your body less. When you've had a good sleep, one, you might go to the gym, you might exercise or do something. We generally tend to move your body more, even down when it comes to blinking your eyes or moving your hands or just general NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is the calories you burn in the other 23 hours of the day, or 16 if you take away sleeping, the stuff that you do when you're not at the gym. So poor sleep has got that knock-on effect. But you could still lose body fat and be getting terrible sleep. You're just going to feel shitty at the same time. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All righty. Mark Greenwood. Hello, Mark. What is the best level of calorie deficit to aim for? Is 500 good level for male daily allowance? Let's pop that up. It could be a good start. It really depends where you are. If you are only eating, it depends on the size of the person and the weight loss desired. I'll give you an extreme example. Let's say as a man, you weigh 60 kilos, which is quite small for a guy, and you're only eating 1,500 calories a day, and you need to lose body fat. By doing a 500 calorie deficit, it's probably going to be too much too soon. So yes and no, the context is good. If a guy's eating 3,000 calories and he needs to lose 20 pounds, 500 calorie deficit might be a great start. Yeah, I don't look at it like that. I start off with the smallest amount. If someone loses weight, great, we'll stay there. If they're not losing weight, we'll add a little bit more. But it's a good question. So it really depends on the starting point from someone, male or female, and their end goal and how much weight they need to lose. What else? Oh, someone's called me big boy. Shizabi. How do you know I'm a big boy? I'm only 5'8". You're obviously talking about something else. Nice background, looking lean. Shizabi, you can come back on my LinkedIn Live anytime, my friend. Hi, Ashley. Awesome. New messages. What's emotional eating? How to refrain from those type of habits. Paul, serious question. Saw lower back. What are the exercises, best exercises, and what should I avoid? Paul, that's a tough question to answer. I'll pull that one up, but it's a very tough one to answer without knowing the full context, what's aggravated your back. I'm not going to get into this on this live because I want to stick to the topic. However, I'm more than happy to have a chat off air. If you want to email me, gav8020lifestyle.com, and we can get into that, and I can maybe refer you to probably know a lot more about. If it's muscular, I can certainly help. If it's spine, it's above my pay grade. But please email me and I'll help you out with that. All right, I'm going to come off the questions if that's okay for a little bit. Thank you for all those questions. I appreciate that. And take it back. We talked about fat loss, the mechanics, and the psychological aspect, how to lose body fat. It's a big subject. And I mentioned motivation and goal setting. Big part of the psychological aspect of losing body fat. And I always talk to people about goal setting and motivation. People say, look, I know what to do, but I just need to be motivated. Okay, I hear that all the time. Now, what it usually means is they don't know what to do, and they haven't set goals, because motivation will get you started. There's no doubt motivation will get you started. But what gets you finished is habits and having a bloody good reason why you want to achieve that goal. If you've got 30 pounds to lose, or 2 stone in English money, and you're just sitting around doing nothing, there's two problems. Either it's a skill set problem or a mindset problem. Skill set is knowing what a calorie deficit is and what to do in the gym or what exercise. The mindset is a little bit of motivation, goal setting, self-limiting beliefs, all these different things. So if someone says, I need to be motivated, just tell me what to do. I just need to get motivation. It nearly always boils down, if they know what to do, we need to look at what's stopping them taking action on achieving what they want to achieve. And it usually comes down to having specific goals, to having some real emotion around why they want to achieve that goal. Now, I'm going to give you a stupid example. I talk to this about with my clients all the time. If I put a gun to your head right now, and I'll be honest, I got this from Tony Robbins. If I put a gun to you right now, I said, I'm going to blow your fucking brains out unless you lose 30 pounds in the next 12 weeks. I can pretty much guarantee that every single one of you would lose 30 pounds. Why? Because the motivation and the leverage is through the roof. It's a no-brainer. You're going to die in 12 weeks or you're going to lose 30 pounds. Do you think you're going to have a problem with lacing up your trainers at 7 a.m. to go for that run? Do you think you're going to have problems controlling your calories or getting your protein levels if someone's got a gun to your head? That's severe leverage. That's motivation. How motivated are you on a scale of 1 to 100? You're 100, because you're going to die. So it's not motivation, it's the goal. It's the goal that you need. Now, I'm assuming that no one's going to put a gun to your head. Let's hope not. But if they did, you know what to do. So look, that's an extreme example. And let's say this someone is not motivated at all. You want to find your level somewhere in the middle. Okay. So I always tell my clients to look at their goal. What is their goal? Like, it's not to lose 30 pounds, although that is the goal. It's the reasons what they're going to get from losing 30 pounds. Maybe more energy, better sex life, fit into their clothes, energy to play with the kids, feel great about themselves, boost their self-esteem, their confidence, all these things. It's the reason they want to lose 30 pounds. It's not the weight on the scales. Because if you had the same weight on the scales, yet looked and felt amazing, had amazing energy, it doesn't matter what you weigh on the scales. It's irrelevant. Okay, so it's always about the reason why you want to do it. And it was Simon Sinek, or Simon Sinek, however you pronounce it, talked about start with why. You have to look at that reason why, that dirty grey reason why. And it's got to be an emotion attached to it. You've got to be passionate about it. Like, one of the first modules that I do with my clients on my coaching program is we talk about, what's your why? Why do you want to achieve that? And I get them to write out a load of, if someone's struggling as well, write out 10 reasons why you want to lose that weight. That'll get you motivated. If you've got no sex life, or you're too tired to play with the kids, or you literally can't wipe your ass or put your trousers on or tie your shoelaces up without being in pain, that's a fucking great reason why. It's not the 50 pounds you want to lose. It's the reason why you want to do that. Now, if you've got some emotion, if you've got a real reason, like you're in pain, that could be physical, even mental or emotional pain. If you're in real pain, there's your reason why. So when you talk about goals 12 weeks out, attach some emotion to that, because without that goal, it's just I'll lose a few pounds for the summer. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. If you want to lose 30 pounds so you can feel good and look great, and look great for your husband or your wife, and get your sex life back and play with the kids at the weekends, and get back into my old suits or my work suit and everything, and all these are real goals. Attach some emotion. Write it down. Write it down. So that's motivation. So certainly you need motivation to get you started, but motivation is not going to get you to the finish line. If you look at every professional athlete at some point in their life, are they motivated every single morning to get up and go to the track at 6 a.m? Probably not. Some might be, but most would probably say, you know what, there's a couple of times a week I'm tired, I've got a little niggle, I'm sore, I don't want to go to the gym or to the track or to the training field or something. But they go and do it. It's not about motivation. It's having the reason why. It's their job. They've got leverage. They know the result that's going to happen. So if it's a non-negotiable, if you set a non-negotiable, if you say, come rain or shine, I go to the gym 4 days a week. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days a week, I'm going to go to the gym. Now, it doesn't matter if it's pissing down outside or the sun is shining. You get up and you go to the gym, because it's not your non-negotiable. That's what you do. When you've got non-negotiables and a dirty great reason why, you don't need to be motivated. You just get up, you put your trainers on, you get your gym kit on, you drive, come rain or shine. There's a couple of times a week that I don't feel motivated. This morning, I use an example. Alarm went off, 4:45. I know I get up early. I'm a 5 o'clock every day of the week, but I'm 4:45 at the moment because I get to the gym for 5:30, home for 7 to get on with the family stuff, wake the kids up. This morning, I did not want to go. But you know what? I went, because I go to the gym 4 days a week at 5:30. I don't need to be motivated. That's what I do. I feel great when I go to the gym. The benefits and what I'm going to feel come back far outweigh me feeling a little tired. I had my coffee, I had my water, got in the car, and I was like, oh God, I'm tired. But did I regret it? No. You never regret that. You only regret the workouts you don't do, not the ones you do. So it's not about motivation. Motivation will get you started. But what gets you to the finish line is leverage, a dirty great reason why, and a gun to your head. Okay, no gun to the head, but you know what I'm saying. So hopefully that's answered that questions. So look, how long we've been on? 40 minutes. Awesome. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Nigger balls, someone said. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to share that. Thank you. Interesting. No, you can eat them. You could probably eat them, probably good protein, but I wouldn't recommend them for anything else. Ahmed, okay, let's go to a question. Is there any difference between running on a running machine and running on a track or outside home? What's more effective as per psychology of consistency? You'll burn more calories if you run on a track or outside than you will on a treadmill, because treadmill's artificial. So it really depends on the context. If, you know, there's me talking about motivation, but if it's literally snowing or hailing or pissing down outside, treadmill might be a better option if it means you're going to get the session done. But there's no difference. But you'll burn more calories when you run on a road or on a track. What's more effective per psychology of consistency? There you go. You've answered the question itself. If it meant that you went more times by going on the treadmill, you know, then I would go on the treadmill. But in terms of effectiveness and probably running the way you're designed to run, you're probably better off on the road or on the track. Remember, you're not bouncing, you're still bouncing. It's going to help you. It's going to be a lot easier. It's a lot easier to run a marathon on a treadmill than it would be outside. Not that I've ever run a marathon, but I would guess it is. Hopefully that made sense, Ahmed. Awesome. So we've had some good comments, 41 minutes. So look, that was fat loss, the mechanical side and the psychological side. We looked at motivation, goal setting, and having that dirty great reason why. I think we're going to wrap it here. If anyone's got any final questions, let's just look in the chat, see if we've got anything. Let's have a look. No, there's nothing coming up. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you being on here, whether you're watching, whether it was on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just let you know, I'm going to be doing these every Wednesday at 5 p.m. British Standard, British Summer Time. No worries, Paul. Thanks. Enjoyed that. Awesome, mate. So, yeah, 5 p.m. on a Wednesday every single week. And the next couple are going to be just me talking about stuff. Going to bring a few different guests on from different areas of life, but with a relevance to fitness and fat loss and health. So hopefully you enjoy that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I shall see you on the next show.
See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands in my knicker. Call me old-fashioned. I'm kind of a big deal. So